I love this. I love this so much. Watch this video, then we're going to talk. I'm going to try to cover the kid's face.
How often am I super angry?
Not often.
You feel like you could still talk to me?
Only if you get like super angry.
Super angry. Then what are you feeling?
I like don't talk to you.
How come?
Because if I talk to you about something, you might be angry at me. And then that's what it feels like.
Like I did the other day?
When we were building my bed, I was trying to do everything right, and then he kept getting mad at me for not knowing what it was.
That's not fair, is it? You were doing the best you could, weren't you? And I made you feel like it wasn't good enough. You ever built a bed before?
No.
No, exactly. So you probably deserved an extra chance there, didn't you? And a little more patience. I love you so much, dude.
Love you.
I'm sorry about that. And I'm really sorry that I scared you and got mad at you. You built a really great bed.
Yeah.
It's great. Dad has some growing up to do there, don't I? Do you feel unsafe when I'm angry like that?
No, I feel safe.
You still feel safe?
Yeah.
You know that I'd never hurt you?
No.
Good. Still, though, it's really important how Dad manages his anger because it teaches you how to manage yours. I want you to hear me say this, but I want you to understand that there's a difference between me explaining something and then me taking accountability for something, okay? When I was younger, my household, my entire childhood, was filled with very rapidly changing emotions. Extreme anger. You get angry, you explode. You feel sad, you make everybody pay. You feel anxious and upset, you control the entire environment. And my job was to try to get as small as I could. It doesn't mean just because of what I went through as a kid that that's a reason why it's okay for me to do it. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's never okay. You're safe to call that out. You can say, hey, Dad, you're doing that thing, bro.
Okay.
Where you lose your mind. Okay. Okay. Sometimes with Dad, you're going to learn what to do. What you saw in that moment, that's a real good example of what not to do. What do you think you'll take from this conversation today?
It's okay to be angry.
It's okay to be angry. What's not okay?
Be so angry where you like yell super loud, get mad and kick stuff, and then you're like,
Yeah. You know Dad's working really hard at it. You know I'm going to keep working hard at it. I'm never going to quit. I love you, big guy.
wait.
I love this on multiple levels. We're going to start first at the parenting level. I love the way that the dad was able to discuss the differentiation between having a conversation, saying he did something, and then taking accountability. I love that he worded it in a way that his son could understand and that he's using a specific situation to showcase that to the son. I love the way that he let his son know, hey, sometimes I make mistakes too. And sometimes it's because of the way that I was parented, the things that I've experienced. That's on me. Here's what we can do to make that better. And I acknowledge your feelings and I am sorry. I am loving all of this. This is creating the space for the son to have healthy relationships with himself, his feelings, his reactions to things, to create patience, to create understanding, to be able to have conversations, to be able to admit wrong. A lot of men don't know. When I say a lot, I don't mean like, oh, maybe 51%. A lot, the majority of men have a hard time admitting when they are wrong, taking accountability, and then making steps for repair. This, a lot of men, all men, need to watch this. And not just they need to watch this. If they are parents, they absolutely need to. And I don't know this man, I don't know this son, I don't know this family. I'm just talking about this video specifically because I think that it's a really solid breakdown of how these kinds of conversations can happen between fathers and sons, or fathers and their children in general, but especially with their sons. We talk a lot on this channel about how a lot of these sons are out here killing, raping, murdering, stealing, creating mass mayhem. This is what prevention looks like. This is what prevention looks like. This is what long-term communal safety looks like. Yeah, and they don't need to spend a dime on that. There are countless abuses that will not take place if these kinds of conversations continue to happen. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands of people. Let's say, no, we're going to say hundreds, maybe even thousands of people. And I'm not even talking about this kid specifically. I don't know these people. But with each time a parent is able to help their son learn how to navigate their big feelings and learn these kinds of community skills, interpersonal and community skills, hundreds, if not thousands of people do not get harmed in the future. Hundreds, if not thousands, of traumatic events do not happen. Poof, different timeline. Hundreds, if not thousands, of traumatized individuals will never be traumatized. Harm prevention. And at another level, these kinds of conversations men need to be having with themselves in the mirror. Oh, well, my dad never talked to me like that. Oh, well, I was never, oh, well, I didn't get skin-to-skin contact after I popped out the womb. You can parent yourself. It's called shadow work. It's called therapy. It's called self-talk. It's called looking in the mirror. It's called being a functional adult. And parenting yourself can look different. There's no one right way to parent yourself. Inner child work looks different for everybody. I'll talk a little bit about what that has looked like for me, like an example of what that looks like for me, if it's helpful for anybody. If you guys have examples of what like this kind of work internally has looked like for you, feel free to share it in the comments in case there's somebody out there that needs a little bit of prompting, needs a little bit of like, okay, but how do I do this? First of all, there's books on this. I know a lot of people don't like reading. I know a lot of people don't like reading. I know that the literacy rate is below the bar. I know. But reading, there's Substacks. If you prefer that, you could get books. There are articles on so that's one way. We will share in the comment section. And here's an example from me. I like to literally just imagine a baby Shayna. When something comes up that I realize is triggering a wound that is much older, that goes much further back. I like to imagine a baby Shayna in my head and talk to her. And it doesn't matter, I like to age her down a little bit. I'd say 4 or 5. I started talking early. I started yapping before I started yapping early. My mom she's not here right now. She's wandering around Bangkok, but at some point I started yapping way too early. You could probably tell. So I like to age myself down enough to where I could understand, however old that is. And I just start talking to her. I start apologizing to her. I create a space of understanding. Hey, I know that insert situation here. I know this hurts. And I'm sorry that happened. Here's what we can do maybe to do better. What is it that you need right now? Do you need a hug? Do you need to take a walk? Do you need water? Do you need a nap? Do you need to go to the movies? Do you need to call a friend? And I really feel through those answers. I feel through those responses. And because she is me and I am she. And so when this dad is talking to his son, he's also talking to a little version of himself. He's healing himself up as he's helping his son learn to navigate things for the first time. Talking to his son is allowing him to not just be a better dad, but to be a better person. Grow himself up, age up that inner child for as old as, the more you heal, the older that inner child gets. Sure, you could still age yourself down if you want to, but the more you heal, the more you allow yourself to be okay, I can meet myself at that teenage level, at that teenager level wounds. I can meet myself at that wherever. Men need to be able to have these kinds of conversations with themselves. They don't need their girlfriends, their wives, their situationships to mommy to mammy to babysit them into doing this. And a lot of these men out here are just reproducing recklessly and don't even have the skills to do that with themselves, but they're just producing all of these kids that who will not be able to have these kinds of conversations with their dads because their dads are unwell. And I will take it back to a phrase, a concept that I take it back to off and on here. If you are thinking about having kids, if you are contemplating having kids, and you don't have these skills, and you don't have these skills that we just saw, I don't care what your gender is, if you don't have the skills to be able to meet yourself, heal yourself, work on yourself to the point where you could help somebody who just got here, just arrived on this planet, navigate these experiences, if you don't have at least the base level skills for that, don't be popping out kids. Don't. What that dad is doing, what parents like this are doing, crime prevention. If you're not doing stuff like this, you're just creating the space for the high likelihood of more crime, harm, trauma, etc., especially if you happen to have boys. We live in a patriarchal society. They prefer to have these boys grow up to be menaces. It allows for the patriarchy to continue. It allows for misogyny to continue. It allows for mass violence to continue. It allows for a lot of terror to continue. So if you don't have the skills to cut the snake's head off, don't be making snakes. Don't be breeding snakes. I think those are all of my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments. Stay safe out there. Oh, and I'll include, I can't remember if I said this, but I'll include the link to if they have a channel on YouTube or something. I'll include their TikTok in the comment section. Okay, in the description. Okay, I'm going to go. Bye.